It was just another typical Friday night at college. Loud music leaking through the walls, the kind of laughter that fills rooms and blurs lines between reality and fun. I was with my friends, the kind of group where the party always seemed just right, never too wild, but just enough to let loose. A few drinks too many, but nothing I couldn't handle, or so I thought. Around midnight, the party started to thin out. People were saying their goodbyes, pulling on jackets and calling rides. I checked my phone, blinked at the dim screen, and opened the Uber app. I was tired, but relieved to be heading home soon. I stepped outside into the cool night air. The street was empty except for the distant hum of cars. But even as I waited, a strange prickling sensation crawled up my spine, like someone or something was watching me. I shrugged it off. Probably just nerves from walking alone in the dark. What I didn't know then was that someone had been watching. For hours, maybe days. Someone who didn't just want to see me get home safely, but someone who wanted to make sure I never made it there. When my phone buzzed with the notification, "Your Uber is arriving," I glanced up and saw a black Honda Civic pulling slowly around the corner. The license plate matched the one in the app, or so I thought at first glance. The driver's name was Mike, just like the app said. I hesitated for a moment, a flicker of doubt passing through my mind. But it was late. I was tired. I told myself it was just paranoia, the kind that happens when you're alone too long. I opened the door and slipped inside. What I didn't realize yet was that I hadn't ordered that ride. Someone else had, using my information. And the night that started like any other was about to turn into the kind of nightmare I'd never forget. The door shut behind me with a soft click that suddenly felt way too loud in the stillness of the car. The air inside was cool, almost unnaturally cold for a warm spring night. I glanced over at the driver, Mike, or whoever he really was.
No smile, no greeting.
Just eyes fixed forward. A blank expression that didn't reach his face. I forced a small, nervous smile. "Hi," I said softly. No response. The black Honda Civic was spotless. The interior neat enough that it could have been brand new. The faint scent of air freshener masked something else I couldn't place. Maybe fear. My phone buzzed. A notification from Uber telling me my driver's name and the license plate again. I checked it quickly, wanting that little reassurance. The license plate on the car matched. Almost. One digit was different. Just one. A small thing. But somehow it made my skin crawl. I blinked, staring harder. Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe the app glitched. Maybe my mind was playing tricks on me. But the wrong digit wasn't the only thing wrong. Mike didn't say a word, didn't acknowledge me, and when I tried to make small talk, he just grunted in response. Something about the silence felt deliberate, like the quiet before a storm. My fingers nervously tapped the edge of the seat. I couldn't shake the feeling that this wasn't just a random ride. That one wrong digit was a signal, a message to someone else. And me? I was the package that had just been picked up. First, I told myself it was fine. We pulled out onto the main road, the familiar streetlights flickering by like a lullaby. I glanced down at my phone, expecting to see the little blue moving toward my apartment. But the screen was frozen. The app was stuck on the loading screen, spinning, glitching, refusing to show anything helpful. We passed a turn I normally took, then another. I leaned forward slightly. "Hey, I think you missed my street," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Light, like maybe this was just a rookie mistake. Still no answer. His hands gripped the steering wheel tight, knuckles white, eyes locked on the road ahead like he didn't hear me or didn't care. My stomach sank. I watched the world outside the window begin to shift. Familiar neighborhoods melting into places I didn't recognize. Street names that meant nothing. Empty storefronts. Dead-end alleyways. We weren't heading toward my apartment. We weren't even heading anywhere I'd been before. I looked back down at my phone. Still frozen. I tried refreshing the app, but my signal bars danced weakly between 1 and none, like the world was slowly disconnecting me. Then I saw it. Just above the dashboard, barely visible in the dim glow of the streetlights, was a sheet of paper taped near the driver's phone mount. It wasn't a GPS. It was a handwritten route, turns and street names scribbled in pen, like a scavenger hunt, or a plan. A plan that didn't include getting me home. The hairs on my arms rose. My breath caught. This wasn't a mistake. He wasn't lost. He knew exactly where he was going. The car was so quiet, I could hear the soft whir of the tires against the pavement. The silence had turned heavy now, like the air itself didn't want to move. I sat perfectly still, eyes flicking between the shadowy streets and the man beside me. His jaw was clenched. His eyes never left the road. Then, out of nowhere, his voice broke the silence. "Do you live alone?" The question hit like a slap. Simple words. Innocent, maybe, but there was nothing casual in the way he asked it. It wasn't curiosity, it was calculation. I paused for half a second too long. "No," I lied quickly, swallowing hard. "My boyfriend's at home waiting for me." He gave a slow, almost mechanical nod. Said nothing. A few minutes later, he spoke again, voice even flatter this time. "Is anyone expecting you tonight?" My pulse thundered in my ears. I forced another lie through gritted teeth. "Yeah, I told my roommate I'd be back by midnight. She always tracks my rides." That wasn't true. No one was waiting. No one was tracking. But he didn't know that, I hoped. For a long stretch, he said nothing. The road ahead grew darker, the houses farther apart. Fewer lights, more shadows. Then, without warning, he reached for his phone. I tensed, heart hammering, ready to bolt if he stopped the car. But he didn't. He pressed a button and lifted the phone to his ear. "She's perfect," he said quietly. Then he hung up. He didn't look at me. He didn't explain. And in that moment, I realized I wasn't in a rideshare anymore. I was in a moving trap, and someone on the other end of that call was waiting for me to arrive. The farther we drove, the more the world behind us seemed to disappear. Streetlights became sparse, then non-existent. Houses gave way to warehouses, and sidewalks gave way to gravel shoulders and fences lined with razor wire. I didn't say a word anymore. I couldn't. My voice felt buried somewhere deep in my chest, locked behind fear. The car slowed. We turned off the main road and onto a narrow, cracked path that looked like it hadn't been used in years. The headlights barely lit more than 20 feet ahead, but I could see enough to know there was nothing out here. No traffic, no people, just rusted shipping containers, boarded up doors, and shadows that stretched too far and moved too slow. I could feel my heartbeat in my throat. I forced myself to act normal, to breathe steady, to pretend I wasn't slowly unraveling inside. I didn't want him to know how scared I really was. I needed to think. I needed a chance. Then something caught my eye in the side mirror. Headlights. A second car. Not behind us directly, but close. Lurking one street over, weaving slowly, deliberately, like it was following from just far enough away not to draw attention. It didn't pass us. Didn't turn away. Just stayed back like it was waiting. My mind raced. Was it backup? Was it someone meeting him? Watching us? Watching me? The Civic pulled behind a long-abandoned warehouse with broken windows and a half-collapsed roof. The driver shifted the car into park but didn't move. He just sat there, both hands still on the wheel, breathing slowly. I glanced down at my phone again, hoping for a miracle. Still dead. No bars. No signal. No light. Just me, him, and whoever was in that second car. I knew I had only one shot, while he stared blankly ahead, like he was waiting for something or someone. I slowly shifted my body toward the passenger door, angling my phone just low enough to hide what I was doing. My fingers moved fast. Muscle memory. I opened my messages, tapped on my roommate's name, typed 2 words, "Call police." I hit send. Nothing happened. The spinning circle just sat there on the screen, mocking me. I checked the signal, 1 flickering bar, then none. I tried again, then again. Still nothing. My hands started shaking. Not from panic anymore, this was rage. Helpless, bitter rage. I glanced down at the battery icon. 1%. Of course. Perfect timing. I quickly closed the message and snapped a photo of the warehouse outside the window, hoping maybe, just maybe, it would upload somewhere before the phone died. Click, then black. My screen went dark, the battery finally giving up like it knew how useless it had become. I froze. No signal. No light.
No lifeline.
My heart thudded loud enough I was sure he could hear it. And then, like a switch flipping in my mind, I noticed something. Tucked into the car's cigarette lighter port, half hidden beneath the dash, was a small black device. It looked ordinary, like a car charger, but it wasn't. It was a signal jammer. That's why the app froze. That's why my messages failed. That's why I felt like I had vanished the moment I stepped into this car. He had planned it. I wasn't just lost. I wasn't just off the grid. I had been erased. The air in the car had shifted thicker, heavier. I could hear him breathing now, calm, controlled, like he had all the time in the world. Then, without warning, he reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a phone. He tapped the screen a few times and held it up, angling it so I could see. My heart stopped. It was me, my photo, from Instagram, smiling, posing in front of a cafe downtown 2 weeks ago. The same outfit I wore that day. The caption I had written. But it wasn't just a screenshot. Above my photo were the words, "Confirmed pickup. Lot number 41, verified." Beneath it, a timestamp. Tonight's date. This exact hour. I stared at the screen, trying to understand, but my thoughts wouldn't line up. It wasn't random. It wasn't a coincidence. This was orchestrated, cataloged. I had been chosen. I opened my mouth to speak, but no sound came out. He put the phone back in his pocket like it meant nothing, like showing me my own listing was just part of the script. Then he looked at me for the first time all night. Really looked, and there was something in his eyes that made my blood run cold. Not hate, not anger, business. Like I wasn't a person, just a transaction, a job, product in transit. That's when it clicked. This wasn't just a kidnapping. This wasn't some sick individual with a grudge. This was a system, a black market version of Uber, a ride-hailing network buried deep in the web, designed not to take you home, but to take you away. And tonight, I was the delivery. I couldn't think, couldn't breathe. My heart was pounding like it was trying to punch through my ribs. I was out of time, out of options, and out of signal. So I did the only thing I could. I faked it. I let out a sharp gasp, then clutched my chest and doubled over like I couldn't breathe. My shoulders shook. I moaned just loud enough to fill the space between us. "P, please. I think I'm having a panic attack." I choked out. "I need air. Please pull over. Please." No response at first. Then, slowly, the car rolled forward again. He didn't look at me, didn't speak. But after a minute, we pulled onto the shoulder of a nearly empty street. Ahead was a flickering fluorescent glow, a gas station. He stopped the car. His jaw clenched. I held my breath. Then, with a sharp click, the locks disengaged. The doors unlocked. I didn't wait. I threw the door open and ran. My legs didn't feel real. I was sprinting on adrenaline, across cracked pavement and toward the light of the gas station like it was the only safe place left in the universe. I didn't look back, didn't dare. I stumbled through the doors, gasping, wide-eyed. The cashier looked up, startled. I opened my mouth to scream for help, but then I saw her, someone already standing by the counter. A girl, same height, same build, same long, dark hair pulled into the same kind of ponytail I wore. She turned, startled by the noise, and for one terrifying moment, it felt like looking in a mirror. Same style, same sneakers, same exact jacket I'd posted in last week's photo. My mind reeled. Was she part of it? A decoy? Another victim? Or worse, was I the wrong one? Was she meant to be picked up, and they had gotten me by mistake? Before I could say a word, she backed away, confused and afraid, and ran out the side door. I didn't follow, couldn't, because I realized something else. He hadn't followed me in. He was still out there, waiting, watching, and maybe now, even more interested. The police arrived 20 minutes after I called. By then, the gas station clerk had locked the doors, kept me behind the counter, handed me water with trembling hands. I sat there, barely able to hold the cup. My body was safe, but my mind was still trapped in that car, in those empty streets under those cold eyes. When the officers asked what happened, I told them everything. The fake ride, the detour, the silence, the second car, the photo of me on that dark web app. They didn't roll their eyes, didn't question my sanity. They just exchanged a glance, a serious one, and one of them muttered, "We've had something similar, but not like this." An hour later, they found the real Uber driver, unconscious, stuffed behind a dumpster outside a liquor store. His car was still parked nearby. Same make, same model, same color as the one I'd ridden in. Same everything, except him. His wallet and phone had been taken, but the phone still logged in, still active in the Uber system. They'd used his account, hijacked it, impersonated him down to the smallest detail, right down to the friendly name on the screen. I wasn't the first. They found rides on his log that he hadn't taken, days where 2 trips overlapped, pickups in different parts of the city at the same time. But none of the other riders had reported anything, because none of the other riders had ever made it home. There was one report, a missing person, filed weeks ago by a worried sister, a college girl who had ordered a ride after a night out. Her last location pinged just a few blocks from where I had been picked up. They matched her to a ride on the driver's log. Same time of night, same drop-off spot as mine. She was never found. I kept thinking it was random. Wrong place, wrong time. Just bad luck. But deep down, something didn't add up. Too many things were too specific. The car, the photo, the detail. I hadn't just been chosen. I'd been delivered. A few days later, the detective called. His voice was tight, serious. "We traced the data," he said. "Your profile didn't end up on that dark website by accident." There was a pause. "Someone sold it." I didn't understand at first. "Your Instagram, your class schedule, even a recent voice memo. It was all bundled in a zip file uploaded to a trafficking forum." The air drained out of me. "And it wasn't anonymous," he added. "It came from an IP address we were able to trace." I held my breath. The name he said next made my stomach drop. Tyler, my ex. We'd broken up 2 months earlier. It was messy. He'd gotten possessive, controlling, said I owed him time, attention, forgiveness. He started showing up where I was, commenting from fake accounts, demanding friends. When I blocked him, he got quiet, too quiet. I never thought he'd go this far, but he did. He packaged me like a product, sold my routines, my face, my life to people who were waiting to buy women like me. I wasn't just the victim of a fake Uber driver. I was targeted, hunted, tracked, and nearly delivered to the highest bidder. All because someone I once trusted wanted revenge. The cops never found the driver. Not really. The car was dumped and torched days later, and the trail went cold. But I survived. I changed my number, wiped my socials, moved cities, started therapy, and still, every time I order a ride, I check the plate 3 times. I memorize the driver's face, and I never, ever get too comfortable. Because now I know, monsters don't always hide in the dark. Sometimes they smile in your photos. This story may be over, but some nightmares don't end when you wake up. If you have a true horror story, something real, something chilling, send it to me.